listening to Good Question, a podcast for the curious by Compassion Christian Church. My name is Blair, and this is my co-host, Marcus Johnson.
Hey, what up?
Who has officially been on this podcast for a whole year.
Yeah. Wow. Is this like an anniversary of some kind?
I don't know, but you've been here for a whole year.
Yeah, it's been a joy and a pleasure.
I feel like it has been a joy to have you. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Honestly, if not, it would just be me crying and doing a lot of empathizing and asking questions to nothingness. So thank you for being here.
This might be my last time on because I'll be honest, I feel like I've given more effort to the Christmas outfit that you told me to wear.
You did give a lot of effort.
Yep.
These gnomes are, I want you guys to know, I didn't bring any of this. I just brought the outfit. And
this is just what I have in my office at all times, and I'm not kidding about that at all. These are
in your office all the time?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear that? Like, what is this? Also, Lauren, we need to talk.
What?
These noses.
No, look.
Are you guys?
Everybody loves a good Christmas gnome.
Is your
I don't know what you're
Christmas
talking
aesthetic
about.
Gnomes?
I don't think I could claim an aesthetic. I don't know. They're just very lovable and simple and cuddly when you need a podcast partner.
I can't take you seriously as you're like coddling with that gnome. Okay. But it is the Christmas season, you guys. And with that, we are coming at you a little bit early with this episode because we're going to spend some time with our families celebrating, also spending a lot of it at church, which we hope you'll come and join us for Christmas Eve. But we want to talk with you guys about the topic that I think is important this time of year, and it's how to navigate difficult conversations or people in the midst of a lot of gatherings where you're going to see a lot of people that sometimes, you have to see. They're on the list.
Blair, I think it's time for you to answer the question everybody's wondering about. Are you just projecting a little bit on this? Do you just have personally? Are you just going like you're just worried about a lot of conversations you're going to have at Christmas?
Number one, Marcus, who's the person you're least looking forward to seeing this Christmas?
Jeez,
you're on the clock.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really under pressure here.
I'm just teasing.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, I was thinking about this topic.
Are you actually going to answer this?
Yeah, I'm going to tell it. Yeah, and she knows who she is. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I'm playing. No. There's an aspect of it where I thought to myself, I have an above average awesome family. My side and my wife's side. Like, in ministry and just, having friends, I know there are plenty of horror stories about the way that, family holidays bring people together, and it's like, I love them, but it makes me want to hide in a hole for like a month, right? The hedgehog or whatever. Not the hedgehog. What are they? Groundhog. That's what they are. But I don't like, my family's awesome, but at the same time, there is definitely I can name each family member that I'll be with and go, this is the thing I hope I don't have to talk to them about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and so it is real. It's real for everybody. It's real for people that have tough family.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about this. This is something I've been thinking about. And again, don't know if it's real. Do you think Jesus had people that he was like, oh, they're coming up to talk to me? Oh. Ooh. Do you think?
He had to, right?
The Pharisees and all of them, was he like, oh, great, here we go. I'm going to figure out how to navigate through this one. Or do you think he was like, okay, saying a breath prayer and
deep breath,
into it? Yeah.
Deep breath. I told everybody that how you love your enemies is really how, most important, come on, Jesus, you got this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an actual example from scripture where it actually articulates this, and I can't think of anything in particular. Honestly, and interesting in the combination of what we just talked about, the way that he talked to some of his closest, disciples, especially Peter.
Yeah.
There's we can see that Jesus and Peter were very close, but at times there was definitely
sharp
Peter,
nature.
come on,
Right.
and so I think when the Bible says that Jesus understands everything that we deal with in the sense of the temptation, including the temptation to, punch a family member in the face, and theoretically Jesus felt that too.
He felt those tensions too.
Yeah, you just didn't actually do it.
Well, because like we saw him rebuke people. Mm-hmm. We also saw Jesus stay silent at times when others were coming for him. Mm-hmm. We saw him go away to a quiet place and pray. We saw him a lot of times like doing a lot of the things. So what can we learn from Jesus this season as we interact with those around us? What type of things should we be mindful of or trying to keep, conscious about?
Man, what can we learn from Jesus? Well, Jesus does talk about the fact that everyone's good at being kind, loving, friendly, giving towards people who are kind, loving, friendly, giving towards us.
Yeah.
And that his phrasing of it is even the pagans do that. And what he meant by that is that it doesn't distinguish us in any way to be really kind to the family member that you're most excited to see on Christmas because they're really kind to you. One of the things that would distinguish us would be how we handle the relationships with people who we find more trying and more difficult. And the thing that the gospel equips us with in every relationship is the direct line of it starts with we are all way short of what we should be, and to start from that place is always it empowers love and grace to other people because it starts with the love and grace you've personally received. And none of us should lose sight of the fact that theoretically if we were put into the position of one of the early followers of Jesus, we would not be like the teacher's pet. Jesus thinks we're awesome all the time. There would definitely be plenty of times where he'd be like,
rolling his
Blair,
eyes. Yes.
Stop it.
Right. Right.
Quit trying to call down fire on the Samaritans, Blair, daughter of thunder. There's a whole Bible reference for somebody out there that knows what I'm talking about.
I think that's a good thought. And I want to ask this question because we did a podcast episode
What family were you specifically thinking about now?
I'm not telling you. But I will say, we've talked in the past about pride being the root of all evil, that it's caused a lot of our downfall. Mm-hmm. Do you think sometimes in our interactions with these people, we can name a few versions, right? A few of the person who thinks they deserve all of the information that they haven't gotten from you or asking you prying questions. Those who have wronged us in the past.
How many times I watched my sister get asked,
I know.
So are you in a relationship?
It's the worst. It's coming and there's no way to defend yourself.
Yeah.
There's also the people who are the know-it-alls. They don't receive anything from anybody. They just want to fill the silence and talk at you a lot. Those are real during the holidays, it feels like. There's people who are running through really sad and difficult things. There's angry people. There are obviously happy ones. But all of these things, when we come into these conversations with people, do you think that a lot of times it stems from a seed of pride that we have difficulty with them?
Oh, I think the first question is, what are which category is your family putting you into?
Ooh, that's convicting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I don't know. I mean, because honestly, if you're walking into it going, oh gosh, there's the know-it-all, and then there's the why that category. I get it, but at the same time. Probably for walking into our family events, categorizing our family members into
what they've been in the past,
all of these things. Then the category you fall into is the self-righteous.
Ooh,
one,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. Well, we know what Blair is. Okay.
Huh? Oh,
I just said I'm calling myself out because I do. Sometimes I'm mentally preparing myself before I head to those gatherings. Like you said, okay, Uncle is gonna ask me this. And because I was in local news, so the topic of news always came up. And nothing I would rather talk about less at a family function than the status of the world that I've been spending all of my days focused way too heavy on. Mm-hmm. And so it's I would have to mentally work myself up to have those conversations and hear their opinions of stuff that I'm real life walking through, of things that they don't think are real or that they don't see from my vantage point, and I would automatically be on a defensive side, rather than just like receiving those things and trying to like reach a level of understanding from each other.
Sure.
And so I do think it probably is coming from a self-righteous or a proud state. In my experience,
the thing that often complicates that as well is one of the things that Jesus's story talks about is there's this quote that of a prophet has no honor in his hometown. And whenever you're dealing with family, part of the thing that always is difficult, especially for those of us who, you and I, and probably like we're in the middle generation of whatever our family getting together looks like, right? Yeah. Which means that there's that group above us that probably still see us in some version of, we feel like we've been doing good things and things have been going well, and there are things that we're excited about, proud about, that they don't necessarily know about, care about, have seen. And to them, we're still, hey,
little old rascal,
right? Yeah, they're not viewing in the few interactions we have in that way. It can get a little sideways, and so, but a lot of that I do, even that is pride, come walking into it going like, man, they don't have any clue how awesome I actually am. I'm trying to get the Santa hat to bobble with it.
It's working for you.
I don't have long hair, so I'm trying to
Anybody who is just listening to this in audio, I just want you to know, you don't have to watch the video, but at least go in for reference. Look at how ridiculous Marcus looks in a loving and kind way. It is a ridiculous amount of joy. It is a ridiculous amount of joy. There we go.
What possibly could be ridiculous about this?
Let's talk about another thing in this topic, Marcus. So obviously there are times where we can feel this rising up in us, or we can feel ourselves becoming defensive, like I talked about.
Sure.
What are some ways to guard against some of that? Like things that we can do to practically kind of like level our head?
My hesitation reveals that I might not be very good at this particular thing.
I don't know. You are a peacemaker.
Well, the thing that when I think of these things, my selfishness comes out in the fact that the Christmas season is not an off season for people in ministry. And so usually I'm just looking at it and going, my introvert is already done before we ever hit, Christmas morning. And so I don't mind the conversations and the dynamics as much as I just literally would love to be napping while all of my extroverted family wants to be partying. And that's the thing I usually have the most challenge with. So, understand. I loved my fellow I almost said extrovert. And then I was going to
say you had like a visual reaction to that word.
Extrovert. And other introverts out there. I just want to snuggle my nose. I just want to snuggle up with my gnomes and take a nap.
And you're halfway there right now.
Yeah. If I pass out by the end of this podcast. So to not walk in defensively.
Yeah.
I think fundamentally the major thing that you can do to always be avoiding being defensive is just making sure that your identity isn't rooted in the approval of anyone that you're about to interact with. And it's like, it doesn't matter how combative any of the people you're interacting with are. Like, you don't have to enter the arena.
Yeah.
You don't have to get in there as like I don't know why they're thinking I'm going to listen to them. They're not going to listen to me. And it's like, who cares if you're going to walk out like having won a point on them walking away going like, you know what? You've really challenged my thinking. Yeah. I'm going to do my research. And
also that's probably rare.
Of course it's rare. Of course it's rare. But if you can weather that in a way that isn't defensive, you can usually return to some of the things you actually care about, which is, catching up, talking memories, and just enjoying the presence of them, whether you're watching something together, going to a movie, or watching the little ones play with their toys or whatever. If you can get through the moment without letting it really throw you for a loop, then you can actually enjoy the presence of the most troublesome members of your family.
Well, and that's a good thought. It is a moment. It's not the whole day, right? And often we can write narratives that aren't accurate to what actually happened. And so I do think it is sometimes like for me, when I'm going through difficult things like that, or when I've got conflict with friends or someone, I will journal about it because it helps me recognize where have I overinflated it up here, and where have I written things that are not true to what actually happened, but they're how I am experienced that, or what I created that to be. And I think you're right. It is normally a moment. And so being able to recognize it for what it was and move from it into another one, that's okay.
There's an amazing book. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because I know how big of a reader you are. Yes. You ready? All right. So this book, by the way, you would cry so much reading this book. Okay. I'm just letting you know in advance. It's called A Severe Mercy, and it's profound. It's the story of a couple who fell in love with each other before they were followers of Jesus, were led to Jesus by C.S. Lewis.
Wow.
And maintained a relationship with him. And then the spoiler alert, but the wife gets sick and they have to process through her illness. And the name of the book is A Severe Mercy. In this book, one of the things that's so beautiful about it is the love story of this couple. And what they decided early on is something that I have really tried to apply in my interactions with not just my wife, especially my wife, but also with my kids, with my friends, and when I'm in my better, healthy place, my more resourceful places, with people like family and even distant folks that I don't know as well or interact with as much.
Right.
The thing that they talked about is that they decided as a couple, if my partner, if my wife and my husband, my spouse, if they love something, then there is something about it worth loving. And it's my job to discover what that is. And so they, in a similar way, when we come to interact with people, even people who are bringing perspectives and opinions and passions that we could not care less about or frankly disagree with, there is an aspect of looking at the other person and going, there is something to learn from this person.
Yeah.
There is something to receive from this person. There is somewhere in this something beautiful that's driving their passion, and something that's true that's driving their passion about this, even if a lot around it is twisted or wrong or you disagree with. There's something there, and if you dig for that and look for that and search for that, you can you can find yourself coming out the other side not only better for it, but honestly you'll get through the muck of it with a far better perspective than you would have otherwise.
I do think there is so much that we can learn from those people who think differently or then see differently from us. Like there is a lot of sharpening that can be done in that vein of if we take the time to do it. Now that's a work. It's not an easy thing. It's not a probably pleasant process for you to go through.
Nah.
But it's worth it in the long run. And I believe that's exactly what Jesus did. Every time he told these parables, right? It was a way of him relating to someone in a way that they could understand and breaking down complex things to be able to speak hard things, right? And so, man, there's a lot for us to learn in that too, of how can I join in the parable sometimes.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think that's right.
You're like, I don't think it is, Blair. It's fine.
That's right.
You just don't want to call you out. You can call me out, Marcus. I'm allowing you.
Are we about to have our own conflict, our own Christmas conflict right here?
Lead by example, right?
Well, I'm already upset that you haven't taken any of the gnomes.
Well, listen, that one's hard, and I don't want to hold a hard gnome. That feels weird.
That is true. I have taken the stuffed animal gnomes.
Let's talk about another thing, which you kind of mentioned it.
Did I?
What if we are the difficult person? What if we are the one who is creating a thing that isn't really a thing until we make it a thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or how do we recognize
first
we're
of all,
doing that?
you are the difficult person in some way.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a peacemaker. That is my personality type. That is challenging to some people in and of itself who don't want anybody coming in there trying to make peace and calm everything down. They enjoy the combat.
Chaos.
They're looking forward to the debate at the table.
Yeah.
And then even if it's not a personality thing, it can be the introverted side of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So the first part is like you are the difficult person to an extent. You bring something to the friction of just people being together.
Yeah.
Like you are not the thing.
Yeah.
That's gonna make everything awesome. And so like there's just a humility to that I think can be helpful. And it's also the version of like control what you can control. And one of the things you can control is walking in and going, I'm going to try to empathize with the people I'm about to engage with and understand why they might not like certain things about what I do or what I think or who I am or whatever, and not be defensive about it. That's part of it. But
it's like a check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh,
you know,
you should write a song about that. Is this where the Christmas karaoke starts? Where you just immediately go into LL Cool J?
Okay, wait a minute. Let's tail off for a second.
Yeah, we're not doing
What
that.
is your Christmas karaoke song?
Last Christmas.
That was mine!
Oh, snap. Did we just become best friends?
I listened to the Glee version. The Glee version is superior.
The what version?
The Glee version.
Oh, Glee version. I thought you said clean version. I was like, are there explicit lyrics in Last Christmas?
No,
I don't think so.
The Glee version is superior in my eyes.
But there's a close second.
Oh no, actually, I take it back. Mine's NSYNC Christmas. That is the best Christmas album. I will.
Oh, it's a whole album.
Yes.
Okay.
But Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. That's a great song.
I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. Are you familiar with this song?
That's one for you.
What? That's
a
close second.
Wow.
Oh, I mean.
I just want you to know, my husband and I, we have like dance moves that we do to Merry Christmas. And like legit, we will do them in the car, and it's like a synchronized dance.
Y'all are like one of those TikTok couples.
I don't think anybody wants to watch it, but.
Well, I don't know why you're doing it then.
Our family would probably argue around the table about that, but.
Oh man, that's a great way to blow up your family, is to suggest that y'all all learn a TikTok dance together and just ruin Christmas instantly.
Family bonding, though.
See, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll find out. Wait, I don't feel like we moved.
You're still at the karaoke?
Well, no, we don't have to do the karaoke part. What were we talking about? What's the difficult one?
Okay.
The funny thing about this is that it's not actually anywhere close to Christmas when we're recording this, but it definitely
it is too. I'm decorating for Christmas.
So have we, but I'm saying, so you don't win the Christmas battle on this one. I'm just saying
it is close. You can't say it's not close.
It feels like the end of the year where things start to get looser. Like, I'm not sure we've talked about too much on this podcast.
We have. I feel like there's been meat in here. All
right.
Okay, I'm going to ask you 2 more questions. That's it.
Okay.
One is, when we start to feel these things, or before we engage with these, and let's also be clear that this doesn't have to be your family. This could be a coworker. This could be somebody at your social gathering or whatever, like the friend that normally, if you were hosting the party, you wouldn't invite them, but you went to somebody else's party and they invited them.
Yeah.
Like, it could be so many different
We used
things.
to do like a Christmas Eve party where we went to like a bunch of families got together back in the day. Like, that was a Johnson family tradition.
Yes.
And that was like, that was bringing together a lot of people that we never interacted with outside of that party, and it would always get weird, which is part of what made it fun. By the way, I do think
a bingo card.
I do. Oh. That's great. That's great. I do think there are ways, and you've got to find the balance between being mean, being like the mean girls going into the party or whatever. But there is a way where that you can basically look at someone that's like your homie, whether it's your spouse, your brother, your sister, or whatever, and just go like, okay, there are going to be times where just to get it out of our system, we're going to give each other a look, and that's going to be our vent moment, and then we're going to get back into this thing, and and then you just give each other your secret. That? Oh yeah, we have a code word to get out of stuff.
What is it? Can I know?
Why would I tell you that?
What if you used it on me?
The moment you the moment you and Sam start doing dances to songs, you'll know the code word, because I'll be looking at Lauren and being like,
bananas.
Code word. That's right. That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Eggnog.
That's when you know you are the person we've been talking about. You are the difficult person when someone uses a code word around you. Okay, let's finish.
Did you ask the question, or did we interrupt it again? Okay, my bad.
Didn't I?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'm going to ask it again because clearly we did it. So if you recognize yourself getting to this place with these people that you are interacting with this season, what are some like guardrails or checking mechanisms that you can see? Okay, I'm heading down a place I don't want to get too much further down.
Yeah.
And pull yourself back.
Yeah, pretend to get a phone call.
You talked about the look, which is helpful.
Leave. Oh, sorry. The look.
Is it like a breath prayer? Is it something as simple as just like, okay, focus my eyes up, get myself out of where I currently am, and refocus on like, okay, Lord, you have placed me here. This is where I am, and I am a witness, and I have something.
Unpack that for us a little bit, Blair. Talk to us about breath prayers.
I don't know if I used the correct term for it, but this is how I live it out. It's a moment for me to be reminded that there is a God much larger than I am, and it brings me back. So it's like a Lord have mercy on me, or a Lord take it from me because I'm going to take it if not. It's like simple things that I am choosing to say in that moment to remind myself it is not about me, and this situation is looking some way, but that is not true. And instead connects me to the truth.
Yeah, that's great.
Accurate?
I think that's a great thing to walk in with. Yeah.
Is that an accurate definition of breath prayers?
Breath prayers, yeah. So yes, it's the idea of having a phrase that you would essentially pray under your breath repeatedly to keep yourself grounded. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, that's great.
Glad I was right.
You crushed it. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be a test, but you did it. You did it.
So okay, we could do breath prayers. We could also, we could do the look. That's real. I do think that's real.
I can't tell if that was the look. I can't tell if that's what.
That's me giving you the look right now.
On camera, Blair's nose just itched. I thought she was giving me a signal.
I didn't have to do that.
I thought she gave me a signal.
We're derailing. Okay, one more question. Any final thoughts that we should carry as we have these intentional run-ins with people from all walks of life during this season? Any final imparting knowledge for people who are going to do this?
All right. I think about some of my own interactions with this kind of stuff in the past, and if we stop long enough and think, and it's not just about family. This is about coworkers. This is about the people we interact with all the time. The people in our lives sometimes that we think of and go, man, they are really difficult.
Yeah.
They're not a good hang. They are difficult to spend time with. They can be abrasive, combative. The social, the emotional intelligence of this person can be lacking. Most people know it without necessarily knowing why that's the case or how to change or whatever. And there's a version sometimes of blaming others. There's also a deeper aspect of people being self-aware. In fact, some of you, even as Blair and I've joked about this, like some of you are going, I know I'm that guy or that girl to an extent in my own family that I'm the black sheep in one form or another. I struggle to be the good hang or to fit. For me with my wife's side of the family, it's just very simple. Literally all extroverts. literally all like loud talking over each other. And when I get like first entered into it, I was like, what is happening? I did not fit in very well to it. And so I stood out, and I knew that. I wasn't like unaware of that. But what that also means is that if you've got the stereotypical abrasive uncle that you're about to spend time with, it's actually kind of likely that the uncle knows that they are sometimes viewed that way, or they don't necessarily like that this is what it feels like when they're in this interaction, which also means that that's always the opportunity. The opportunity is in that. Because when you show just a willingness to receive the awkward joke, to receive the question that you dread hearing, to hear them rant about how birds aren't real or whatever conspiracy theory or ridiculous thing they hold on to in the moment, and then push through that to a version of like, but you're still there. To just be like, but hey, tell me more about these, bird spies or whatever. Tell me more about your very strong opinions about, whatever you have opinions about. And it doesn't have to be that like on the nose, but just literally if you're willing to just basically go like, engage. Hey, I'm here. I'm here for this. For sure. There's opportunity in that. There's opportunity to love people in that way. Yes. And, I can think of specific family members that, and then conversations that have happened on the side about how there's like, I hope we don't get caught into a conversation about X. Yeah. And when I hear that, I go, okay, so I need to be the guy to just literally go ask the person about X, to give them the opportunity to just say all the stuff they want to say and be there for it. There are opportunities in that as well. And sometimes that's the thing that can motivate us to be able to stick.
And to love people. I think that's such a good thought, and a serious one in this whole chaotic episode of like, hey, we have an opportunity to love people this season in a way that they are needing it.
Yep.
Because we don't get to rub elbows with these people all the time. And so when we do, we should be really intentional when we're with them about finding ways to make sure they see Jesus in us. Yeah. That they see the Savior has come and he is tangibly present still.
That's good.
Among his people. And so we hope you guys will take time to opportunities that you'll dive into some of those awkward situations, because I do think in those are the ones we talk about with Jesus, right? Like when he was in those trials and those difficult conversations, like those are the things that stick with us sometimes, or how he responded and how he showed love or genius in his response to the criticism. And so, man, the opportunity thing is real, and we have a great one ahead of us. Yeah. We do have Christmas Eve services here at our Compassion campuses. We have 7 of them. We would love for you guys to come and join us.
Yeah, come hang out.
It's going to be special. And of course, you can always join us online too, because we'll be on all of the interwebs for you. But we hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. We hope you get a chance to celebrate Jesus, the reason for the season, right? And so we really do hope that you guys have a great time, and we'll see you in the new year, but not until then, okay?
Yep, see y'all later. And if you're wondering what to give me for Christmas,
another gnome.
Like gnomes. No, the opposite. Yeah, bring me all the gnomes.
Goodbye, friends.